Welcome back to On the Move with Victor Shi. This is Victor Shi. It is Monday, February 20th. Happy President's Day to all who celebrate, to everyone, of course, but our 45th president, the twice impeached, disgraced president. Happy holidays to everyone who is celebrating that. Today's episode of On the Move will be an exciting one because it's with Adam Frisch. The last time he joined me, he was still actively considering a challenge to Lauren Boebert. Now, Adam Frisch has officially announced that he is running to challenge Lauren Boebert again. You heard that right. He is running to challenge Lauren Boebert once again. So today we're going to talk about his run and how Democrats can beat Lauren Boebert in 2024. It's great to see you, Adam. Thanks so much for coming back on the show.
Good morning, Victor. You and your show kind of gave me the nudge to really go for it. But we've been working on this for a couple weeks, I should say, and we're super excited and honored to be going. And we're off to a really great start that we can talk about in a little bit.
It definitely seems like it, and we definitely want to talk about that. But first, you're now running and challenging Lauren Boebert for the second time, which gives me a lot of hope because last time you lost to Lauren Boebert by barely over 500 votes. So my first question for you is, what went behind this decision to run?
Well, we wanted to get back. We had the closest race in the country, literally, Victor. We knew that even in the face of a lot of doubts and skepticism a year and a half ago, including left, right, and center, nobody thought that someone that is brand namey, if you will, like Representative Boebert, in a district that's somewhere between 9 and 15 points, as 538 has it, the assumption was there was going to be a 40,000 vote difference. And I just knew that a good chunk of the Republican Party wants their party back, and we needed about 10% of our prior voters. And people are sick and tired of this entertainment industry and politics, and they want the circus to stop. And we thought we could make a good run of it, and we did. So we've gotten a lot of people pushing us from all over the country, literally, but mostly from the district that I'm mostly focused on to get going again. And so I spent the past months just driving around the state, spent a lot of time with farmers and ranchers individually and in different groups. And, their view was there were some people that said they voted for me under their breath. They never voted for a non-Republican before. But a lot of people come up to me and said, hey, listen, Adam, I didn't vote for you, but I thought you ran a good campaign. And I'm really disappointed that the current representative learned zero from having one of the worst performing races in the country, as well as her tone and tenor hasn't changed one iota. We have a huge farm bill coming up every 6 years, and she decided not to try to get on that ag committee, and she'd rather get on what I call the ghosts and goblins committee of this oversight committee, chasing things that have nothing to do with this district. And so I thought there was a continued opening for us to get back in this race, and here we are.
Definitely. So, I want to ask you, because you mentioned your conversations with Colorado's 3rd District and constituents there. What has the response been like from the Republican side, people who may have voted for Lauren Boebert in 2022 but now see what's happened? Are they paying attention to DC politics, or is it kind of they don't really pay attention to what's happening there, and they still support her?
No, I think, obviously, there's a chunk of people that are going to support the Republican primary no matter what happens in life. And we fully appreciate that. But my view was I could reach out and have these conversations with 30 or 40% of the Republican Party, including a lot of independents. The district is 25% Democrat, 31 Republican, 43 unaffiliated. And so we just knew that there were a lot of people out there that just don't like that circus and entertainment. And they're just disappointed that she's not focused on the job. Most of the people in this district aren't fully immersed in every nook and cranny that happens on Twitter and what goes on in DC, but they see the theme. And the theme is that she's not focused on the job. She's focused on herself. She is on this Natural Resources Committee, which is really important for this district. And you don't hear anything about it. She should be on the Agriculture Committee, how important it is. And she passed that up. And all of her interest and what she thinks is fame and fortune is going to be coming from being on this oversight committee, which again is doing zero about anything for the ranchers and the farmers and the businesses and the communities and the families of Colorado's western and southern Colorado. So, this is what we're focused on, like do the job and do it with respect. And those two things are both missing in the current representative. And that's what I'm hearing from a lot of people that either voted for her or used to vote for her and have been turned off by her antics.
So I totally agree with what you're doing right now, and you alluded to this a little bit before, but I want to pull on this thread, which is as you head into 2024, this election is going to be, at least in 2022, it was close, and hopefully in 2024 it'll be not that close. But what is your campaign strategy for widening that margin? What are the core constituent groups that you're trying to target? What is kind of the campaign's overall strategy, I guess, right now and heading into 2024?
We needed just more time. When you're supposed to lose by 40,000 votes and you lose by 550,
Yeah,
you have to have some realization with humility, of course, that we're not perfect, but we did a pretty darn good job.
yeah,
And the
yeah,
message resonated with a lot of people. So it will be a continuation of that. We give more time to just talk about why people should be voting for us, not just against her. And we try to do that as well, but that got
yeah,
lost in some of the shuffle in a very short period of a campaign time.
yeah,
And so we're spending just more and more time driving around the district with my son, who was with us last time,
yeah,
making sure that people realize that there's positive ways and proactive ways to vote for us, not just against her. And so we're super excited to do that. Victor, I think we probably would have won the race last time by about 1,000 or 2,000 votes if we would have just redone the election like a week later. We had a lot
mhm,
of people that were moderate and conservative Republicans or independents that didn't think we have a chance and had never
yeah,
voted for a non-Republican, so they just left it blank. And we also had a lot of super liberal Democrats that thought I was just too moderate for their personal likings and didn't think their
mhm,
vote really mattered. And we've talked to a lot of people, we heard from a lot of people. And so one message I have to you and everyone else there, this, every vote matters, no matter
yeah,
what type of
yeah,
district you live in. And so it's a little heartbreaking to have that experience, but we're getting back on the horse. We're getting back on
yeah,
there. I'm not blaming anyone except for ourselves for coming up a little bit short, as well as we did. And so, again, we just need more time to make our message out there. So we will stay on track that this is really about the rural aspects of healthcare, the rural
mhm,
aspects of
mhm,
inflation that are hitting a lot of farmers and ranchers and small business owners. And whether you have a college education or not, everyone deserves economic opportunity. And that's something that's really,
yeah.
really important. So we'll
You
go
know,
forward with that message.
Absolutely. Your district is a microcosm and I think a perfect embodiment of why every vote matters, with Lauren Boebert winning by just slightly over 500 votes. I mean, it's really important for everyone to understand that. And I think hopefully those in your district understand that sentiment going forward. But you touch on something that I think is so important for Democrats overall that I'm not quite seeing, which is I think it's really easy to kind of attack what Republicans are doing. I think that has to be a clear and I think just constant message about what they're trying to do to our country, just their antics, their circus, but also what Democrats offer. And I'm wondering how you're framing that, and whether or not that framing changes for Democrats, for those on the far left versus those in the middle versus Republicans. How are you kind of selling yourself as a Democrat across the district?
Well, I'm not so much. I mean, there's a couple of things. One, I'm not so much focused on red versus blue,
Yeah, yeah.
in those type of teams. The conversation really is, as my mom called it, the pro-normal party coalition.
Hmm,
And just
mhm,
mathematically, we obviously need more than D's, but just who I am as a person, and Western and Southern Colorado, it's an independent conversation going on here. And I'm proud of some of the policies that come out of the national thing, but there's some tone and tenor that hasn't really gelled well with a lot of people in rural America. And
yeah,
I'm really just
yeah,
kind of focusing on the district that matters, which is the issues have to do with Colorado water, Colorado energy production, making sure that we're producing the cleanest energy, regardless if it's solar, wind, or also gas and coal, which obviously is starting to come down. It needs to come down. We have a climate crisis going on, but we're better to do that here than we are in Russia or China or Venezuela or Iran for that energy production. And so, in the rural aspects of healthcare, and the same thing about education funding. And so, those are the issues that I'm trying to just focus that they're less red and blue and more just what do people
yeah,
want in our district. And that's what's resonating with a lot of people. So we're excited to tell these stories, and I'm excited to continue to be a really good listener. And that's something that's not happening. When you run against the Lauren Boeberts, the Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Donald Trumps of the world,
yeah,
you are running a referendum election. No matter what you do, a good chunk of that story is going to be whether people want to stick with this anchortainment cycle, or do they want to go in a different way. But we also want to tell a positive message about who I am, my rural background, as well as some policies that I think have come from all sorts of things about supporting agriculture, supporting education, especially the rural aspects, rural broadband. There's a lot of stories out there that people should be voting for us.
yeah,
And that's the message I want to get, not just that she is a bad person or he's a bad person, because I'm not really focused on the person. I'm really focused on the policies that other people are implementing in this race are just really, really bad for the district. And I ask you to think about you, your family, your business, and your community about who is that best choice representing those stakeholders that you have in your life going forward for the future.
Yeah, it's all about a choice, and Colorado's third district is also, as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, also includes University of Colorado Boulder and some other colleges. Is that right?
Well, it doesn't include Boulder, but
Oh,
it
not Boulder.
includes
Okay, okay.
10 other no, but it includes 10 other or 12 other universities,
Wow.
and colleges, in Western Slate and Fort Lewis, and Western and, Pueblo Community College and CSU Pueblo. So we're going all over this district, spending a lot of time focusing on registration in 2023.
Mhm,
Everyone is asking us
mhm.
boots on the ground, what do we do in the field?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can't get people out to vote. It's too early, but we're really focused on registration, and we have two
yeah.
big buckets. One of those the college education systems that are happening across the district, and obviously a huge focus on the Latino population, which
Mhm, mhm.
we did pretty well. We got about 67% of the vote, which is pretty strong, given that we're starting to lose a little bit of the Latino vote at a national level.
Yeah,
But we
yeah,
held on to our own with that, and then we just want to get them registered because they're important. They're a super important part of our economy, and they're a super important part of who we are culturally in our district. And we just need to continue to work with them to kind of let them know that it's really really important to stay involved in the political system,
yeah.
especially on
Getting
the
young
voter side.
getting young people registered at a
Huge.
young age is so
Yeah.
critically important. I'm wondering, beyond your race in Colorado, what do you hope Democrats can learn from the past election cycle and apply it to how they approach campaigns and reaching voters in 2024? And I think especially kind of as it applies to Colorado's third district, which has a lot of rural voters, which isn't a group that Democrats tend to attract. What do you hope Democrats nationally can learn and do in 2024?
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, this is the big theme I'm sharing across the district and a little
Yeah,
bit in DC and elsewhere. Uh, Sorry for these numbers, but there's about 3,100 counties in the country.
hmm
3,100. There's 2,000 of them are deemed rural by the Department of Ag. And Bill
wow,
Clinton in 1996 won more than half of these rural counties. And Barack Obama in 2012 only won 25% of the rural counties.
wow.
But in 2020, President Joe Biden, won fewer than 10% of the rural
Mm.
counties
Oh my
in the
gosh.
country. And the Democratic Party is like 20 big cities and a couple fancy resort communities.
Yeah.
And we need to do a much better job of reaching out to rural America and a good chunk of people that don't have, only about one third of the adults have a four-year college degree. So there's a huge amount of opportunity, not so much in the policies that are being put in place, but there is a tone and tenor that needs to come out of the local groups on the Democrats as well as at the national level that really resonates with a lot of people that haven't had a chance to connect with. And I'm
Mhm,
spending a lot of
mhm.
time trying to enhance the policies that are coming out and try to push back against some of this urban centric part of the Democratic Party because the math just doesn't bode well for a strong Senate and a strong House.
Yeah, that's fascinating, and never be sorry for numbers. Those numbers are really, I think, eye-opening. One last question for you, which is, what is the most important thing our audience can do to help you in your campaign right now?
Well, no, thank you. We're in this for the long haul.
Yeah,
Sadly, we're still going to need the resources to do it. So we would love to see the support. You can follow us on Twitter at Adam for Colorado. We'd love to get more people signed up. And then adamforcolorado.com is where you can go in and donate. We raised $250,000 in the first day.
yeah,
We've raised over $550,000 in the next couple days. And again, a lot of this, Victor, is $5 and $10 and $3 and 25
yeah,
bucks.
yeah.
And so, I wish at this stage, it's really just making sure that people realize that we sadly have the only race in the country in the House that has any chance of seeing an extremist lose.
Mm,
With all due respect to Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jim Jordan
yeah,
and Matt Gaetz' opponents that are going to come, they have really uphill battles. We've proved that we deserve the support, we deserve the exposure because of how well we did and how close we came. So, unabashedly, we would love to just see those $5s and $10 come in at adamforcolorado.com. And also, if you have people that in Western and Southern Colorado, let them know. Please reach out to us. We're driving around all the time, and money is important, but it's certainly not the only thing. We
mhm,
really want to connect and listen to people. And we're setting up a lot of coffee stops and brewery
yeah,
stops
yeah.
and barbecue stops around the district in the springtime going on, and really just having a chance to connect people. You can send us an email as well at adamforcolorado.com. at adam@adamforcolorado.com and go to our website as
Mhm.
well. So thanks, Victor, for having a conversation. I look forward to continuing our dialogue throughout this whole
Likewise,
campaign.
is there any website for, I mean, for those who are maybe outside of Colorado to do phone banking or any sort of mails, or
Yeah,
is there any
that's another
website for
thing.
that?
Yeah. So again, we're going to be starting doing this registration drive
Yeah.
kind of in the spring and going on. And there is a place on adamforcolorado.com to volunteer. So,
Perfect.
the donation thing button is great and important, but you can leave that alone if you want as well. And just look for the volunteer button on there. And we'll get back to you within a day or two because we're starting to get a lot of exposure. But thank you for
Wonderful.
mentioning that. My son Felix, 17 years old, last
Yeah.
cycle, he found 130 college kids across the country, and they made 700,000 phone calls.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
it's never too early to start to kind of build our national phone bank and our national email bank and our national text bank. And so please reach out. The money's great, but again, at the end of the day, the money's only a tool to get to the goal, and the goal is to see Lauren Boebert defeated. And that can also be done with just sweat equity and hard work. And we would
Yeah.
love to get
Yeah.
those names and numbers of people that really want to help us. And so please go on
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
website and sign up. It's super easy. And we're not going to sell your name. We're not going to trade your name. It's only going to be for our campaign to defeat Lauren Boebert.
Yeah, absolutely. And truly, truly, I mean, the one thing about politics is that no act is too small. So get involved, whether it's donating, whether it's phone banking, whether it's just talking to someone about your campaign. Please do so, because, like you said, your race is probably the only race in the country where we can defeat an extremist Republican, and that we need to get rid of them. So, Adam Frisch, thank you so much, and best of luck, and definitely looking forward to staying in touch.
Happy President's Day week and enjoy your day there. Thanks, Victor.
Thanks so
Take
much.
care.
Thanks, Adam. Well, that was a fascinating episode again with Adam Frisch. I think I really think that he's one of the only races across the country that can actually defeat this extremist Republican. And so all eyes will be on Colorado's 3rd district in 2024. But also, we can't lose sight of the fact that there are so many races out there on the local, state level. Republican extremists have control of power, the school board level. So it's all on all of us to really do our research to make sure that we know where those extremists are, and then to vote them out of office in 2024. Voting really is the most important thing to do. And, even now, it's not too early to start registering voters, to start making those calls. This is something that is a constant process. And so for all of us, I think it's important for us to unite together and start really putting in the work, and that's what Republicans are doing right now. So it's about all of us really kind of doing our part to make sure that we defend our democracy and we really support pro-democracy candidates. So all eyes will be on Colorado's 3rd district. Because it's President's Day, there's some news that I want to share regarding a couple of presidents. First, it's sadly over the weekend on Saturday, Jimmy Carter, the Carter Foundation, announced that he has opted to do hospice care instead of a treatment at the hospital. It's really unfortunate news, and I think a good time for all of us to come together and really just send our prayers and our well wishes to the entire Carter family. So far, he seems to be doing okay, but it's never a good sign when you are being transferred into hospice care. Jimmy Carter tends to be one of those presidents that I think a lot of people overlook. He was a one-term president, but really he's such a good person who exemplifies the best of public service, in my opinion. I'm sure we've all seen those photos of Jimmy Carter volunteering at age of 95 in Nashville and other cities across the country, helping build homes. And this is someone, in that one photo that I'm referring to in Nashville, it was the day after he got surgery. He got eye surgery. And so it's truly remarkable what this man stands for, just his fundamental commitment to public service. And I tweeted this out on Saturday night. I was just thinking how, we really don't have that many people, and yes, mostly Republicans, who are in elected office who have that kind of deep commitment to public service and just respect for democracy that Jimmy Carter has. And it's something that I wish we can go back to, but just this fundamental decency that really makes and kind of binds both parties together, that at least once binded both parties together. So, no matter what you thought of Jimmy Carter, at least you did never question his ability to lead and his just commitment to America. And so, Jimmy Carter, all of us are really just sending you our strength right now during this time. The next piece of news is this morning I saw quite a remarkable photo between President Biden and Zelensky. And I thought that was just an old photo of the two of them together, but it was actually the result of a surprise trip after President Biden's visit to Poland. He made a trip down to Kiev, Ukraine, and met with President Zelensky, and it was quite a remarkable showing. When they walked around Kiev, there were air sirens going off in the backdrop, and he recommitted to President Zelensky that he will support the country. He will defend their right, their current effort for democracy. And it's really, I thought it was a really remarkable image and really remarkable showing. Just on President's Day, two presidents coming together and showing the world that they are undeterred by what Vladimir Putin is trying to do to Ukraine and what Russia's trying to do. And so it was quite amazing, I thought, and stands in stark contrast to what Republicans are right now doing in the House. There's a group of Republicans led by Matt Gaetz who are calling now on withdrawing support from Ukraine because they're, quote, too fatigued a year after. It's just shameful, and just kind of shows just how little they care about democracy, both at home and also abroad. And so all eyes will be on that. The one other thing I want to mention is I read this really amazing article over the weekend by Ezra Klein, who is a New York Times opinion columnist. He writes some good op-eds, and he wrote something about President Biden's age. And it was such a good op-ed because he talks about how a lot of the times, we talk about how age is the most important thing, how President Biden's age is a deterrent, but time and time again, President Biden defies political expectations. He defies what people expect of him. He's 80 years old. By any stretch of the imagination, people would rule him out. But, he's been one of the most historic, if not the most historic modern president to ever exist. And during that op-ed piece, he kind of ran down just a list of accomplishments, and it was just remarkable. Just take a minute and read that and let every single one of those things that President Biden has accomplished sink in. I mean, this is someone who isn't even done with his presidency. He's barely halfway done with his presidency, at least for the first term. And, I think for anyone who doubts his ability, just take a look at what he's been able to accomplish. His record truly speaks for itself. So check that piece out by Ezra Klein. It's quite amazing. And one other thing that I'm getting in right now, some breaking news, is Marjorie Taylor Greene apparently this morning tweeted this really just absurd thing, which is, quote, "We need a national divorce. We need to separate by red states and blue states and shrink the federal government. Everyone I talk to says this, from the sick and disgusting woke culture issues shoved down our throats to the Democrats' traitorous America last policies. We are done." That is Marjorie Taylor Greene calling for the separation, the secession of red states from blue states. Speechless. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene on President's Day, someone who claims to love America, wants to see America divided and red states separated from blue states. It's just really disgusting. And that's a real tweet. Just let that sink in. So I'm sometimes shocked by what Marjorie Taylor Greene and Republicans do. It's like every single time you expect them to not go lower, they go lower, and it's just terrifying because these people are serious about this. It's not like Marjorie Taylor Greene is kidding about this. I'm sure if you actually asked her, she would tell you that she wants to see red states secede from blue states, and that's dangerous. I mean, that is literally calling basically for a civil war between a war between red and blue states. I mean, this is not what makes America great. We pride ourselves on uniting together despite our challenges, looking past our differences. But this is what Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks is the next option. I mean, it's yet another reason why we cannot let these people control power, because if they do, that could be the consequence. Wow, just such an eventful President's Day Monday, February 20th. It's going to be a crazy week, I'm sure. No shortage of news. Be sure to tune in every week this week for another episode of On the Move with myself. Tomorrow will be an Ask Me Anything edition. So if you have any questions, be sure to ask me those. On Wednesday, we'll have on a great guest to talk about the news of the day. Same thing with Thursday and Friday. So you don't want to miss those episodes of On the Move. Wednesday will be Joe Walsh, who, as you know, is a very outspoken Republican, and really kind of actually ran against Donald Trump in 2020 for a brief period of time. Thursday is Katie Phang, who I'm sure you all have seen on MSNBC before. We'll talk about the legal woes against Donald Trump and what we can expect in the coming weeks and months. And then on Friday, we have someone who is very active on Twitter and also other platforms, Jojo from Jurors. You don't want to miss those episodes. We'll be back every day right here on youtube.com/Politicon with a new episode. You don't want to miss them at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time, right here Don't miss them. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and share this with anyone who wants to learn more about the news of the day. We definitely have lots to offer, and don't miss any of the episodes. The news is constantly evolving, and we hope that we can come to you with just short, digestible, but also informative episodes with people who are making the news, people who are in these spaces, and who can help us kind of make sense of what's going on right now. So don't miss them. I'll see you all tomorrow for another episode. Be sure to send your questions in. I will be sure to get to them. And thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your President's Day.